Hi everyone, welcome to 4 Hour Young with Dr. Kapoor. Today we are going to talk about how to stay young. So we have Raman Kapoor, so she's a Healthspan officer, and most people have no idea who's a Healthspan officer even means. What does this title means? Tell me more about Raman. What does Healthspan means?
So that's a really interesting question. You're right. Many people have never heard of a chief health span officer or what health span is. So when you think of your health, you want to live a long time and you want to be able to live healthy. So the number of years that you can live without any disease or any major health conditions, that's your health span. So the longer you can live without any chronic conditions, any health conditions, the longer you're going to live healthy in the long term, like your longevity.
Interesting.
Yeah, so
So what's the secret of you looking young?
ooh, are you saying I look young?
Yes.
Fantastic. You look very young too. Maybe you can start with your secret.
Well, I don't know yet. I'm still learning, trying to discover
Okay.
my own secrets before I disclose to public. I'm doing research, but tell me, how you keep staying young?
So there's a lot of different things I like to do. So to stay young, I think it's about believing that you're young too. I think age is partly in the mind, which brings in things like stress and anxiety and just everyday life. So not to take things seriously all the time. Live life and enjoy every moment. The more we find enjoyment in our moments, the fun in those moments, that helps us to naturally live younger and longer and more healthily.
But there has to be something. There has to be some secret you have, which you're not sharing with
Well, if I
us.
disclose my secrets,
You are a dietitian, right?
I am a registered dietitian,
Okay,
yes.
what does dietitian's role? What does dietitians do?
So as you know, of course, when we're looking at health span, we're looking at looking young and feeling young. The foods we eat, the actions we take all make a difference. The foods make a really big difference because what you see on the outside depends on what you put on the inside. So things like fresh foods, the more whole foods we eat, the better. Right now, in the age of convenience and busyness, we're always looking for quick fixes, ways to grab something on the go, fast, convenient. You know, you're driving, you've got a sandwich in one hand, or you're working on your laptop, you're munching on something here.
But people like that. Life is busy. They wake up in the morning and they want to quickly grab something and run, and they feel something in the stomach and they feel good about it. What's wrong with that?
Well,
It's an easy life.
it is easy.
You want to live that way. So what's the harm in living that way?
So just because something's easy doesn't make it good, right? Easy doesn't always get your goals.
Oh, easy is not good.
Easy is not always good.
Okay, guys, easy is not good.
Easy means that it's quick and fast and may not give you those long-term results. You might get the quick fix, it's quick, it's easy, but when you're looking at it long-term, you're looking at that health span, even a few years down the road, that quick fix is not going to achieve that. But even with those quick fixes, there's lots of ways to be healthy from a nutrition perspective that are quick. How-
Something you tell me. I know you have a clinic.
I do.
And it's called NEA. So I heard it's called Nutrition Enhanced Aesthetics. So use nutrition to enhance people look good.
Absolutely.
So tell me secret of your nutrition. What do you eat?
So what I eat, so coming back to that, is really I try to stay away from foods that are processed. The further something is away from its real state.
Define process. What does it mean?
So anything that's not in its real state, even if you look
So
at taking,
is apple processed?
if you're just taking an apple off the tree and it's just a fresh apple, no. But now if we take that apple and we convert it into applesauce, we're processing that apple, we're adding in heat. So that's just processed. But now if we take that applesauce and we create it into these fruit roll-ups that sometimes you see in kids' lunches, that's what we call ultra processed.
Okay.
So there's nothing wrong with a little bit of processing because we do sometimes need to process our foods to get the right nutrients out of them. The issue is when we're ultra processing foods. So when you're in the grocery store and you're walking down the aisles and you're seeing boxes and boxes of foods, of cookies and crackers and this and that, and these foods need no refrigeration.
They taste good.
They taste good. So it's about balance.
Okay.
It's about finding that balance. And you'll find that something that tastes good really comes down to something called your gut microbiome. Have you ever heard of that? Have you heard of a gut microbiome?
Yeah, I love gut microbiome.
Tell me about your gut microbiome.
Well, it's about bacteria that is growing in our stomach and various bacteria who are good and bad. It's like we have a crop and we can have a good crop and a bad crop. And you are growing this good crop, you want to grow more. And if by chance you have a bad crop growing and end up becoming a weed, now it's pretty much encroaching on the territory of the good crops, and these bad guys are getting together, and they're bouncing on the good guys in the stomach, and eventually these bad guys in my stomach is going to cause me the disease. So I like to have good guys in my stomach helping me and stay help me stay healthy the longest, right?
Right. So if you think of those bad guys, now those bad guys or those bad bacteria have put an imbalance in your gut microbiome. We call that a dysbiosis. Now those bad guys, as you say, they want to be fed. How are they going to be fed? They're actually going to start sending signals up your gut-brain axis. So there's a nerve that runs from your gut to your stomach.
So you're saying they're so smart in my stomach that they know which food they want to eat.
Absolutely.
So they'll tell me, and I'll go and buy that food.
Absolutely.
Wow.
They control
Okay.
to some degree what food choices you make. So if you have more of the
Interesting.
good bacteria, you're naturally going to be more inclined to pick foods that tend to be healthier. If you have more of the bad bacteria, they're going to crave those high sugar, high fat, nutrient less foods versus the rich, nutrient dense, healthy foods.
So how does these good guys can beat these bad guys in my stomach?
So this comes down to lifestyle. So if you think of your lifestyle, you think of things like the foods you eat, how well you sleep, because our gut needs rest, our body needs rest. Things like your exercise, when you're exercising, things like your stress. All of these things impact your gut microbiome. So the more better things you do, the more those healthy bacteria flourish.
So you're saying that when I'm stressed, so it impacts my good guys in my stomach.
Absolutely.
And somehow my bad guys get more strong. So stress is not good for my stomach.
Stress is not good for your stomach.
Okay, so what if these bad guys become too many of them in my stomach? Then what happens?
So then we get something called a dysbiosis.
Yeah.
And when there's too many bad guys, because there's a nerve that runs from your gut to your brain. This nerve is called your vagus nerve.
The gut feeling, eh?
Yeah, it's just like when you say, oh, I have a gut feeling, or you're in a situation and you say, I don't have a really good feeling about this, or my gut feeling's telling me. There's some merit to that.
I know women have a good gut feeling.
They
I heard about
they
that.
do.
The
They
guys
know.
don't have a good gut
Guys
feeling.
don't have a good gut feeling.
So that's where it come from?
That's where it comes from.
So
So
I never
when-
knew that.
So now you know.
Yeah,
Now you
so,
know.
Why do women all make all those cool things? Like, we should be making some cool stuff too.
Women are like the superpowers of the world.
Okay.
So, women have
That's
a different
true.
place, they have a different understanding and view of the world. But when you're looking at that vagus nerve, just like the word Vegas, it's vague.
Okay.
So when you have that dysbiosis in your gut, you have too many bad guys versus the good guys, it can essentially affect all parts of your body, from your skin to your mental health, to your diabetes, to things like not being able to lose weight. All of this is affected, your immunity, by this dysbiosis in the gut.
So dysbiosis means the imbalance. So we need to somehow bring these good guys up and make them healthier, which I love it. And when I did my gut microbiome test. And
Oh, you've done one?
Yeah, I have done a few times.
Excellent.
And I learned more about it. So there was some bad ones. I want to make sure they stay bad down there, like in the jail.
Yeah.
And the good ones, they should make me happy. And when I made changes in my life and I felt more energetic, I travel a lot and I don't feel that much jet lag. So I know the type of food I should be eating when I travel, and I feed the good things in my
So
gut
tell me, what are
microbiome.
these changes you made? You said you made some changes. Share your changes with us. What are some of the changes you made?
Well, as you mentioned, so try not to eat anything hyper processed and more fruits and vegetable, and make sure that I follow my rhythm. It's very important. When I travel, the biggest change I made was because these flights are odd times, and as soon as you get on a plane, in an hour later they're feeding you the dinner. It could be leaving a flight from Dubai at 2 o'clock in the morning. They're feeding a dinner at 3 o'clock in the morning. So that's not dinner time. And if you start eating food, it messes up your rhythm. So I tell them, don't wake me up, don't give me any food. I already had my dinner earlier before coming to airport, and now I'm just going to sleep. So I need to adjust my rhythm and follow that. And when I'm going to have a food, they'll rather have more water, more hydration, and have more fresh fruits and vegetables, some light meals, not like big, heavy, salty, creamy food stuff they're sometimes going to give it to you. So if it is there, I choose not to eat it, rather catch up my sleep. So when I land back in Canada, so I feel more refreshed.
That's
So
great
so I
advice.
made my these changes, and there's some other changes along the way. I do carry okay, more water with me. Perhaps have some fruits, vegetables inside the water I can carry and hydrate myself. So I nurture the good guys. So this
Excellent.
way the bad guys keep sleeping.
That's right. And that's the way to do it. And in fact, when you're traveling, I'm sure you're aware, you can also sometimes, if they're long haul flights, ask for special meals. You can get those meals that may not be as heavy. As you mentioned, carry some snacks with you that are healthier, and really listen to your own body's rhythm, your circadian rhythm, and eating when it's your time to eat, not necessarily when they're giving you the food. So you need to be a good judge, and the most important thing is to be mindful. So one of the secrets is to be mindful. Know your
So
surroundings, know when
being
you're
mindful,
eating.
what does that mean? Because to me, mindful means people love food and they want to eat food. So you're saying mindful, what does that mean? Don't eat the food?
So mindful means being aware of your surroundings. So for example, how many times have you had, say, a bag of potato chips in front of the TV?
Well,
Maybe
I
in your
don't eat
earlier
potato
years.
chips. I never
Maybe.
had chips,
Okay,
okay?
fair enough. How many times have you had, say, a bowl of popcorn in front of the TV? Or
Um,
at the movies, or at a
I
hockey
never
game?
have a big bowl. I have
Okay.
maybe some small popcorn portion.
Okay, so let's just say and we'll do it hypothetically. You're at a hockey game, and at the hockey game, or you're at a movie theater, and you buy a bag of popcorn at the movie theater. Now you're watching the movie, and you've got this bag of popcorn, and you choose to go with the biggest bag of popcorn because you know what? It's 25 cents. It's only 25 cents more expensive than the small one, but you're going to get triple the amount of popcorn. So it's the best value. So now you're watching your movie, and you've got your popcorn. How mindful, or how much is your mind in that popcorn versus the movie?
But maybe they love that popcorn. Maybe they were dreaming for that popcorn. They want to eat the whole bag full of it. So what's wrong with that for them?
So again, what's wrong with it is sometimes we get too much. If we're not mindful of what we're eating while we're doing something else. So for example, if we're watching that movie and we're just aimlessly eating, by the end of the movie, we may have eaten that whole bag of popcorn and then we don't feel well. Then the phase comes
So
where
bad guys.
they get woken up, right?
Okay.
So what's better to do is, if you're going with friends, maybe split the bag, or maybe buy the smallest size possible. So focus on a little bit of portion control.
So whenever people feel this acidity in the stomach,
Yeah.
these are bad guys who are making these things. Right?
Yeah, they're not feeling well. How often after a big meal do men unbuckle their pants, or because now they're like over full?
Okay.
So you should try to eat to a point where you're 80% full. Once you're 80% full, slow down or stop. Listen to your body.
Listen to the body. It's very important. And I do that. I do listen to my body.
Well, that's why you look so young.
Thank you.
Yes.
And that's forever young, right? So you want to stay young forever. Make sure. And there's a study done, and the study they have looked at it rats that were fed a lot of calories, a lot of food. They became bigger in size, and they end up dying earlier than the rats that were kind of starved a bit to give food not that much quantity. So I do believe, I think portion size and mindfulness, the way you say it, is very important. And all of us should pay attention to that. And there's something, if you have to give five tips for staying healthiest the longest, what those 5 tips could be?
Okay. So I have a mnemonic that I've kind of created when, somebody asks me this, because I think it's really important. It's something I
What is
follow myself.
mnemonic?
So a word that I think about. So, when I'm trying to talk to somebody and trying to explain to them how they can maybe focus on their longevity, their health span, living longer, being healthy longer, it's called BEST H. So BEST H stands for different things. So B,
Best
H.
AGE.
H as in just the letter H.
Okay. Best H.
Best H.
Okay.
H, however you want to pronounce it. Yeah. So the B is for balanced eating. So focus on balance. Focus on every meal having your balanced proportions of whole grains and fiber, plant-based proteins, vegetables, and fruits. E is for exercise. Get in some exercise. Exercise doesn't mean you need to go to the gym. It means that you need to build in activity into your day. If you're going grocery shopping, park your car as far as you can and walk that little bit. If you're going to the mall, do a couple extra laps around the mall to get those extra steps. Research shows that even just doing 10-minute bursts of activity can have a positive effect on our longevity and health span.
Very
S is for
interesting.
sleep. Sleep is so important. We tend to, if life is getting busy and things are happening, the first thing we tend to give up on is our sleep. But during our time of sleep is when our body is regenerating. So trying to get a good night's sleep that's uninterrupted. Focusing on not having the screens on for at least half an hour before you sleep. Winding your mind down. Some good tips is keeping a little book by your night table and writing all your thoughts in there before you sleep so you can have a restful sleep. T is for thinking positive. The more we think positive, whatever the situation, whatever curveball life throws you, try to find that silver lining. Be positive. Think positively. That
So
will
it helps the good guys.
That will help the good guys.
Okay.
And the H in the best H is hugs. Focus on hugs.
I love
Hugs those
hugs.
that you love. Because hugs are a way to transfer positive energy. They make each other feel good. And they're just one of these tools.
I love hugs.
Yeah.
Keep giving me hugs, guys.
I love hugs
okay?
too.
So that's a key for longevity. So when I get a good hug, I will live longer. So I like that. And you live longer too, same time. So thank you so much for sharing
Thank you for having
amazing
me.
tips and the way to stay young and young forever. Thank you so much for coming and looking forward to have you next time and get some more insights.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And remember, forever young.
Forever young.